Hello everybody and welcome to a Heroes of the Storm Battleground. I keep saying Battleground. This is a quick match with some Tyrande action and really excited to get into this. I think Tyrande's a great hero. I think she's underused, but I think when played properly she can be very powerful. One of her best abilities is that Lunar Flare, her stun that she can sort of send out almost anywhere. Um, but she has to very carefully rely on her balance between offense and defense. Now, especially when the enemy team has a stealth character, or even more than one, which doesn't really happen often, but when it does, you have to be extra careful because Tyrande is a little bit squishy. Um, and of course, having uh, tank characters and reliable characters around you also always helps. So here we go. We're gonna jump right into this. I apologize for the loss of audio. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and I had to strip some of the audio so that I could voice over this. I wasn't coming through so clearly. Anyway, you can see I have Hammer, Sonya, Nova, and the Butcher. The enemy team is using a Sadar, Azmodan, ETC, Nova, and Tychus. So they do have a stealth. And what you'll notice is that during this match, there's the Lunar Flare. You can notice that during this match, I send out my owls a lot to try and tag Nova every time I see her. And what that does is it sort of negates her cloaking ability for the next 5 seconds, which is, I don't know how long it takes her to regularly go back into stealth, but especially in team fights where Nova can sort of slip away then pop out again, it's really useful to get on her and stay on her quick. So this is Battlefield of Eternity. I'm laning bot lane, and there you see the first Lunar Flare was a miss. You're never going to hit them all, but if you get really good at it, I guarantee you that Tyrande is going to become one of those really tricky heroes because she does have some burst, and you'll see here that I am going to spec into having more of a burst damage role on this team, and trying to make the best effective use of Lunar Flare as possible. And I say she's almost like surprise damage because people don't really expect Tyrande to be able to hit so hard and maybe a little bit so fast. And of course, her Lunar Flare has a great range. You can see me throwing those owls behind the enemy team because I'm just trying to make sure that no one is coming up from behind them. Just trying to get a better idea of how the battleground is going. They are pushing pretty close on our gate. Also important to really make good use of that Hunter's Mark. Probably should be focusing down Tassadar at the moment. As you can see, the Butcher is taking quite a bit of damage. But that's okay. He's just going to pour it back. So as I was saying, probably want to focus Tassadar here, but unfortunately I'm not really trying to get any killing blows at the moment. I'm just trying to keep them off this gate until the Immortals spawn. Now at this point I have noticed they've spawned. ETC has left, but these two are still fighting down here bottom lane, so I'm trying my best to annoy them, trying to keep them down here as much as possible. And there you can see me throwing my owl. I didn't see them, those pair down there, so I thought they might have left. So here we go. I'm heading back up top. Our mortal is quite full health, while theirs is still at half health, so they've switched positions already. Almost perfect. It lands kind of right on top of me. Don't really have to move anywhere. Now I have to be careful, especially with that Nova opening up. Tassadar a little bit chasing me down. There you go, landing a nice stun on the Nova. Throwing down a few heals when I can. Tossing out an owl just to see what's going on in between the bosses. And sort of just waiting for my team to catch up. One of the downsides of Tyrande is she can't do a whole lot on her own. Where she excels is during team fights. And she's really able to sort of jump out and jump back in, almost like a Nova in that respect. Of course, she's not stealthed. um, or she doesn't have stealth capabilities. But it's sort of maybe a little bit of that same kind of play style. And like I said, I think the key to success with Tyrande is your it's your balance between your aggressiveness and sort of the more defensive roles. So here I can see most of the enemy team is low. I managed to land a lucky stun on, well, I shouldn't say lucky. I managed to land a stun on that Tychus and Nova there, taking down the Nova. Unfortunately, stepping into the range of that immortal stun, and I can see the enemy team coming closer, so I have to back off a little bit. Nova getting a little too close in there. Here I am trying to get ETC to stand inside those stuns. Unfortunately, he power slides right through me, but he's out of position, and I just managed to catch him with that stun. Unfortunately, it's not enough to finish him off, but it did keep him back. So up here, I can see my boss, or my immortal, is being pressured, so I'm going to ping. I'm going to run to the healing fountain real quick. I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on down here. I do throw an owl. You never know, sometimes you get lucky. And I'm going to make my way back down. So it seems like the enemy team is not being super successful when they're trying to push our boss. And here we go, here's the Nova. Nova trying to escape. I hit her with an owl. I throw the stun just ahead of her, and then I lock onto her with Hunter's Mark. It's almost the perfect combo. So our immortal won almost single-handedly there. Sort of a very one-sided immortal fight there. So he's going to jump to the top lane with almost a full shield. And I'm going to see if I can't pick off a few characters. Just spotting the Tassadar there. While this immortal does some work. Now the ETC is playing very aggressively throughout this match. You can see him getting blasted back there by Hammer. And again, the Nova jumping in. Not really sure what she did, but I can't see her. But I do manage to land the stun. And I think what's important, I don't have the burst to finish her off at this point in the game. But what I think is important is that you really, really keep an eye on those stealths and teach yourself to really look for those stealths. Because if you can, um, um, well, you just can get rid of them very quickly. And of course, it's always very useful. So I'm trying to throw heals wherever I can, picking up a kill there on Tychus. One of the talents I also picked is called Searing Arrows, and when you can, I believe it increases your auto attack damage by, I'm not sure how much. And here you can see ETC rushing way further ahead, casting that flare, hoping that, or expecting him to get a little farther. I'm surprised I didn't throw an owl there while it was on cooldown, but I should have thrown an owl after Nova, if not just to get in her grill. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, ETC very, very aggressive in this match. I can see Sonya trying to pull the bruisers up top, or whatever those guys are. I'm going to ping for some help, and it looks like the Butcher is going to come help me. Very much appreciated. Oh yes, and as I was saying before, I do like to use the Searing Arrows talent, and when you combine that with Hunter's Mark, it really helps your burst damage. And there's even one more talent a little later on, I believe called Huntress's Fury or something like that. I have a feeling that's wrong, but something along the lines of that. And what it does is it increases your auto attack speed for about 5 seconds after you cast Hunter's Mark. So combine the 25% damage boost from Hunter's Mark with the, I want to say 50% auto attack damage given by Searing Arrows, with the of course the increased attack speed from the Hunter's Mark trait that I was talking about, and you get some really cool burst. There we go, managing to push back Nova. I'm not really sure where the enemy team is, but we're going to keep an eye out for them. Going to burst down the boss. You can see right now I'm standing on the right side. I try and make my way over to the left side because I know that if a gank is coming, it's going to be from the right. And I just want to avoid those situations as much as possible. So positioning is also very important with Tyrande. Tassadar coming in ulting. trying to push us off the turret. And Nova just narrowly dodging Nova's ultimate there. I swear that thing, I thought that thing was going to kill me more than once in this match, but I always managed to run out of its range. Maybe that her ability or that ultimate doesn't activate fast enough. Not really sure. But it did seem quite easy to miss because I was hardly expecting it on many occasions. And ETC managing to hit us with with that mosh pit, but unfortunately, his team is not around with him. You can see the Nova there getting caught in the stun and then going down to my Starfall. Really great positioning on that Starfall there. Here I get caught in some sort of mapping issue. I'm not sure. I was trying to duck into that little, loop thing right there, but I couldn't quite get through. Anyway, I it's also very important as Tyrande to stay near the Immortal. Even though I don't think I was full HP before I died, and I did run into a little encounter with a Nova. I did find some danger, but what's also very important is that Hunter's Mark can apply to the Immortals. So it's definitely something you want to make sure that you're always getting on there, and that's why I stayed, is because I knew I had an extra Hunter's Mark, or one that was just off cooldown, that I could throw on the Immortal, and that would really give our team quite the advantage. So there we go, hitting Nova with the stun again. Gonna finish off the Immortal there. And as he's winding up, I'm gonna quickly make my way down to the bottom lane. I want to be there to sort of push back the enemy team as much as possible. Supporting the Immortal is obviously very, very important in this game type. Excuse me. I can see Tassadar coming down to bottom lane. I thought he was going to chase me for a second, so I pulled back, but it seems like he's just going to focus down the Immortal, and I am going to ping for some help. I'm going to let everybody know that the boss is down here. Maybe they weren't so sure that the boss switches lanes every time, but that's okay. So really going to try and poke at these heroes here. Tychus dropping his super laser, trying to land a flare on him there. And you can see that Lunar Flare can be very, very effective on Tychus, especially trying to hit Nova with that owl. But Lunar Flare is very effective on a character like Tychus if you can land it, because it resets his auto attack speed increase. That I think that's part of his trait that increases his auto attack speed the longer he's attacking target. So it allows for great interruptions. Just trying to let everybody know that the boss does switch lanes every time it pops. So, and unfortunately, the Butcher going down. I am going to quickly make my way back towards my team because I know I'm best using a team fight. I can see that ETC is going all in again. Tychus maybe getting caught and landing the perfect Lunar Flare there, just catching ETC as he drops that mosh pit, effectively canceling it out and freeing my team. So it was really, really great luck there on that flare. So again, just pushing the team back, throwing in another owl because I want to make sure I keep eyes on them. I know that the Nova is around here. I saw her run, and there's her ultimate. And there she's coming up around the side. Lands a few hits on Hammer. Hammer's going to go back. I'm going to focus on throwing down some heals on Sonya because I want her to be able to keep up. And there you can see again tagging the Nova, sort of putting my own safety at risk. And there's a perfect situation of how being over aggressive is not a good play style with Tyrande. And again, it's all about finding that balance between D and O, and a character more like Sonya who may be able to grapple her way back to safety a little easier. And there the Butcher obliterating Nova, kind of hilarious. But a character like Sonya maybe is much tankier, and she's a lot tankier and has a much better chance of escaping. So they're overcommitting just a little. No big deal, spawning just in time for the Immortals. I'm going to make my way over to the enemy team Immortal, I believe. just checking to see who on the enemy team is alive and who's dead. There you can see me dropping my Hunter's Mark as soon as I get in range. Nova casting the ultimate. I don't use searing arrows on the boss. It would add a little bit more damage, but I like to save it for particularly Nova, or particularly for the team fights, because I know it can be much more effective there. Taking out an essential hero is much more worth it than DPSing down the immortal in this situation. So there you can see me. I'm landing a Starfall again over the boss, hitting at least 3 of the enemy team's heroes. Nova going down again to the Starfall. And ETC again, not really sure where he's going, but you can see me missing my stuns there. It's the second time I've laid it just ahead of ETC, is because I expect the character to run. And I guess the mentality there is that if he doesn't run, he's going to stay behind and he's going to die. Here you can see me not really sure which talent to pick. I like to assess the situation and see who I've got on my team. I do notice that between the Butcher, Nova, Hammer, and Sonya, there's quite a bit of auto attack damage, so I do pick up True Shot Aura to buff up some of the auto attack damage of my allies. And as I was saying, yeah, very, very situational. And they're landing a really satisfying kill on Tychus, really managing to, stop him dead in his tracks. So here you can see ETC landing a mosh pit. There's a big fight going on around this gate. You can see the enemy team is almost in front, or our team is almost in front of our immortal. It's almost like he's supporting us, which is really not such a bad strategy. And here, if I am not mistaken, we are going to even maybe make it as far as the core, landing another stun there on Asmodan. You can see how effective it is, even slowing him down, especially for a character like the Butcher, who's got such chase ability with his slows. Here you can see us hammering down, landing a Starfall, and this is going to be it. This is going to be GG. And really just a great, great fun game with Tyrande. So getting a little too aggressive at some points, but really focusing on supporting my team, throwing some heals as you can see, and finding the correct balance between offense and defense. And I think that is I think that's the key. That's the key with Tyrande. Here I'm just quickly going over my stats again, looking over for myself. Anyway, that's it. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been 4Leaf here with some Heroes of the Storm Tyrande, and I'll catch you later. See you next time.